Mr. Saliu Lukman, who's a former APC National Vice Chairman for the Northwest. Can you hear us? Good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
All right, so let's get into it. We'll start off with some of the major stories. We'll start with this one with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu telling governors to focus on people's welfare, fight poverty, boost power and agriculture. Basically saying, look, at your level, at state levels, you have to start delivering on the promises that you made when you asked the people in your states to vote for you. Talk to us a little bit about subnationals and this particular call by the president.
I am struggling to really get the question you are asking. My imagination is that you are trying to find out what subnationals are doing, what states are doing to respond to the challenge that citizens are confronting today, if I get you right.
Yes, indeed.
So I think that's where the big challenge is. And unless we reform our politics in such a way that governance is responsive and people in leadership are responsive and accountable to citizens, and this current arrogance of elected people superimposing themselves as leaders that cannot be questioned is change. We will continue on this trajectory of producing disappointments. And I think the best way to stop it is to ensure we have a party that is properly organized and can control and hold its elected representatives and direct their affairs in line with provision of the electoral promises they made, which should be consistent with the manifesto of the party. Right now, I can tell you, almost all our parties, if they have manifesto, they are just in the archive of INEC. And those manifestos don't have any life, which is why, part of my frustration, why I left APC, is the fact that here we are as a party that campaign actively for President Asuwaju based on the New Hope agenda, in line with the provision of APC manifesto. But once you get in, those promises were jettisoned. And across board, if you go to Kaduna where APC, if you come to Kaduna where APC is ruling, and go to Kaduna where the same APC, go to Borno, Lagos, you cannot find anything that binds the governments together. At best now, what I hear all the governors talking, which is also the arrogance of the presidents, that revenue has increased, as if it is the private money of the president or private money of anybody, and it's the benevolence of that person that is making it possible for states to have more money. I honestly believe that this has to stop. I want to see a situation where APC government in Kaduna is doing something that relates to what APC government in Niger State is doing, what APC government in Ondo is doing.
Yeah.
But right now, it's almost like a kind of confusion. Everybody is doing what they like.
Speaking of governors, we saw that story from the United States Embassy, basically alluding to a lack of fiscal accountability on the part of governors. And they're pointing it out. They're saying that Nigeria's governors, basically focusing on building houses, they said, lavish houses, while they're suffering in the country. We've seen a few reactions to that statement. We've seen people, even Mr. Peter Obi, also agreeing, saying this is actually an affirmation of the failure of governance. This wastefulness, and of course we're waiting to hear how the Nigerian government, how the presidency will respond, or how some governors will respond. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but a response to that particular statement. But that wastefulness, you alluded to it earlier, when it comes to the ruling class, to our governors, is there a way to check and ensure fiscal accountability at that level, or are we saying the same thing that we've been hearing everyone say over the years, and then we'll say it and we'll be outraged and move on? Or is there a way that we can actually stop this wastefulness at that level?
I think there has to be a way. I don't believe government God just created us to be who we are. I believe whatever is our challenge can be corrected. And look. When you look at what are our main challenges today, I can reduce it to maybe 2 or 3 things. One is the high level of insecurity. I watched my Governor Bosani yesterday in another station, beating his chest, boasting about how he distributed fertilizer to farmers. I am not sure. When I look at it, I feel a bit embarrassed because he's talking of distributing fertilizers to farmers as if the crisis of insecurity, which is blocking access to many farms in the state, has been addressed. And in any case, let's check the level of, and that takes me to the second issue, the level of productivity. What is the agricultural output the state has produced in the last 2 years when, for instance, Bosani was the governor? Are we recording increase or decline? And these are issues that our political leaders will just talk to us as if we don't know what we are doing. My take, I don't have the statistics. My take is that agricultural production in Kaduna State is on the decline, largely because of rising level of insecurity. Again, I see all of them lying to themselves. The other day, I saw the National Security Advisor talking almost like somebody who is I'm sorry to say, somebody out of his mind, saying that we have killed the bastards. That is not a statement that should come from a public official. For me, what we want is a situation where, for instance, I can go to my farm with my eyes closed without fear of insecurity. And I say so very consciously and knowing fully well what it takes to go to farm. Now, the third issue is the bigger challenge. Here we are in a state, in a region where out-of-school children is rising, is on the increase. Many parents are unable to take care of their children.
Indeed.
And you come and talk in a way that is so, doesn't relate to those challenges. And look, many of us, and I make this point very, very, very responsibly and very consciously. Many of us will not be who we are if at the time we were born, we were growing up, we didn't have access to education.
Mr. Lukman Salihu, we do have to keep within an allotted time, but I want to be able to get you on this because, you used to be a member of the APC. It's not as though you weren't in that corridor. You were in there. Some people have said that for many of you, it does feel like it is when you leave power that you start to see all the ills. Were these ills also very evident while you were inside the You were former National Vice Chairman Northwest. Were these ills still there at the time?
I think if you say that with respect to others, I can understand. But with respect to myself, I think it would be really out of place because I didn't leave. Nobody sacked me out of APC. I left on my own. And it's not as if I finished my tenure. It was because things were going wrong. I voluntarily resigned my position as National Vice Chairman and continue to cry and advocate for reform. Go and play your own tapes in channels. You will see, even when I was there, I was fighting to ensure the right thing, leaders do the right thing. Right. And even now I am in the coalition, I am advocating that we must do the right thing. I am in politics not to make a living. I'm in politics because I believe we can only reform Nigeria based on the kind of politics we're able to develop.
All right, I have to toss it to my colleague in Lagos. He has a few questions for you as well. Go ahead, Ayo.
Same issue of governance that you raised that I would like to raise with Mr. Lukman. You know, when you raise the issue of governance that the president raised, it kind of, in a way, supported what the president said when he met with the National Economic Council, you know, speaking to them about the need for them to drill down governance into, excuse me, into the lives of the people. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that particular issue, and the fact that on the one hand the U.S. spoke in that report, on the other hand the president is also calling, and that's not the first time the president is going to make that statement. When the traditional rulers visited him, he also said to them, governors, talk to your governors to make sure that governance got to the people. And you have also said now that you would like to see a situation where development in Kaduna State gets to the brass tacks, to the grassroots. So sometimes it depends on whether or not we should be asking whether or not there is an accountability structure or system, irrespective of what political party is. At the end of the day, it is about governance, isn't it? So why do you think governance isn't getting down there to the people in the various states, particularly as far as the governors are concerned?
Well, look. I think to hit the nail on the head, yes, the president has said the right thing, but what is he doing to ensure that governors do what they need to do?
Is there something that the president can do about that? Don't the states themselves have a measure of autonomy?
I'm coming to that. Yes,
okay.
The president can do something, but what I see him doing is to reward them for doing the wrong things. I mean, for instance, when your recruitment policy, even as a political leader into your party, is blindly informed in such a way that all you want is for people to come into your party without giving them the condition that need to happen for them to be accountable to their people. You know, so look, as far as I can see, many of them are where their objective is to be where they are, not to deliver services. And which is why it takes me to my point of advocacy. Almost all my political life I've been raising that. Unless and until we are able to organize a proper political party that can subordinate everybody from the president down the line to the party. Right now, we don't have that party. Our objective, forming the coalition and negotiating to take over ADC, is to organize it in such a way that if tomorrow we produce President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and produce governors, all those people will be accountable to the party, and the party will properly direct them to deliver services based on the electoral promises as provided in the manifesto of the party. That is what we want to achieve, which is why, as far as I'm concerned, the ADC and the coalition, many of us, I for one, I can talk for myself, I see it as a platform for struggle. We have to engage our leaders because, look, the mistake many of us make is to imagine leaders are rational. Left on their own, they will do the right thing. Which is where, I'm taking my bearing from the lesson we are learning from APC. In APC, we invested every trust. And at the end of the day, leaders betray those trusts. And that is why APC is damaged to the point whereby today is worse than PDP. So unless we understand that once we don't have a political party that can subordinate elected representatives, once we continue with the mentality that president is the leader of the party, governors are leader of the party in their states, and the structure of the party is subordinated to them, they will continue with this arrogance and continue to be unaccountable and convert public resources almost as if it is their personal property.
Perhaps that also raises an issue, Mr. Lukman. My apologies. Perhaps that also raises the issue of whether or not we have a strong enough accountability parameters, things that can call people to attention and compel them to do the right thing. The civil society organizations, one wonders whether or not they have a voice in that. But there's one other issue, because we're running out of time. One other issue that I'd like to take you up on before we go. You are aware of the ADC and the fact that, you know, all kinds of ramping up has been happening. And there are those who are saying that the PDP is dead because of such a massive exodus from the PDP. But then there is this comment coming from a senator who is saying, as far as he is concerned, ADC has no structures for the 2027 elections and consequently probably dead on arrival. Is there anything to fear in your opinion?
There is nothing to fear. You see, those who make that kind of position, who take that kind of position, that ADC has no structure, the doomsday analysis, yes, I mean, ADC may not have structure today, but we are conscious of it, which is why we negotiate. The whole issue of negotiating with the past leadership to say, look, open your party, or we want to come in, we want to organize it, is to organize the structure. It's now we are starting the job. We have finished I think we have finished now setting up the leadership at national level. The next layer of work is to organize the state leadership. But at the same time, which is why you had the national chairman, Senator David Mark, at the last next meeting of the party, making the point that there will be a 50-person committee, the policy committee, to start working on the manifesto of the party. This are fundamental, foundational issue for the party to even win the confidence of Nigerians. We are not taking the confidence of Nigerians for granted. And I, for one, am one of those who keep reminding our leaders, both in the coalition and in ADC, they must not take Nigerians for granted. Yes, Nigerians are angry, are not happy with APC and the government of President Aswaju, but we must not take it for granted that they will automatically turn their back and support anybody. We have to present the evidence that, yes, we can give Nigerians what they want before Nigerians will agree to support us. That's what we are doing now. And in terms of accountability, is basically to organize a party that will respect its own rule. Right now, all our parties, including APC, don't respect it. In fact, if there is anything, go back to all my engagement and my writing when I was in APC, my major frustration with APC that the leadership don't respect its rule. They don't hold meetings.
It's always been a very
the best is to ensure that the party organs are functional and meetings are taking place.
It's a very, very disturbing trend because a number of people continue to reference the First Republic and the Second Republic and how that the membership of the party was not based on certain individuals but on the generality of the party members. I hope we'll be able to take you up on longer issues some other time, Mr. Salihu Lukman. Thank you so much for your time this morning, former APC National Vice Chairman in the Northwest. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, when we return, we take on something that I think even the presidency has been speaking to, and that's the issue of food security. That in a moment. Stay with us.